Hi guys, it's Laura and today I'm doing my June wrap up. So this video is coming a bit late. It is July the 17th and June finished 17 days ago. I have been really busy just not doing anything. I haven't read a lot recently, so June has been really the month where I have managed to read some books. But I don't know, I've just not really got anything done the past few weeks, which is a shame. So let's get on with my wrap up. It has been a while since I filmed a video, so I feel really peculiar talking to a camera right now. And as you can see, my bookshelves have changed a little bit. I've been rearranging my bookshelves quite a bit. But yeah, wrap up before I go off on a spiral as per usual. The first book I finished in June was Heir of Fire by Sarah J Maas. I really enjoy this series. If you haven't already read them, I'd highly recommend them. This one I only gave 4 stars. I gave 2 up there, 5 stars. I think it's because it's a bit longer. I kind of find, even though I told myself that it's better to marathon series, I have found recently I get to the 3rd book and I'm bored of the same kind of world. So I'm thinking I might not marathon series as much in the future. But I really did enjoy this one. It was a bit longer than the other books and I did feel myself kind of going a bit slower reading, and it did take me ages to get through. But I am really enjoying it and highly recommend the series. I think the next book comes out in September-ish time. So I am really looking forward to it, and the books are beautiful, and I'd really recommend this series if you haven't read it already. It's a brilliant series with a strong female protagonist. It's got elements of fantasy and action, and I completely adore it, and I can't wait till the next book comes out. The next books I have to share with you guys are books that I don't actually know what order I read them in, so I'm just going to share them with you anyway. The first one is We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. 5 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed this, completely got me out of my reading slump, and I wanted to read more like this. These are one of these books where you don't tell what actually happened in the story, because it kind of ruins it. I'm keeping this book, but I know I probably won't read it again because I already know it unless I forget the storyline. But amazing story about a family and a holiday island. And summary read, definitely. What else can I say? I don't know, family, secrets, summer. All 3 of them things, add them all together into this book with this big guessing game that you have to guess what's happening. It's an amazing read. I'm really glad I read it. It's really short, so it's quite easy to get through. But I just couldn't put this one down, and highly recommend it as well. It turns out I did actually read We Were Liars straight after Heir of Fire, so I have got them in order. The next book I read was The End of Everything by Megan Abbott. I've had this book for ages and I wanted to read another short book. Most of the books I've read apart from Heir of Fire are really small, and I just set myself the goal of reading all my really small books. I haven't read all of my small books, but I've read like a big proportion of some of my tiny books. And I'm really glad I did, because it gets some of them out the way that I've had for ages. This one I've had for years. This one really disappointed me though. This one was only 2 stars. This book is about 2 best friends who've grown up together and how they change and how life changes, and their families who live next door to each other. I just found this book didn't really grab me. I found myself pushing through it because it was a book that I told myself I'd read. For me, I did not enjoy the story or the main character, and I found the whole book rather jarring. I just couldn't. It made me feel really uncomfortable, and I don't know whether that's the point of the book, but I didn't enjoy reading it. A lot of reviews and people say that it perfectly captures the awkwardness of being 13 and a teenager. And I'd really disagree. I think it goes beyond that into something a bit, I don't know if perverse is the right word, but I wouldn't say this captures the awkwardness of being 13. I'd say this is just a weird, awkward book in itself. And I think obviously being a teenager is awkward, and yet this book is nothing what I can remember being teenagery like. Unfortunately, this book is a 2 stars for me, so bye-bye book and on to the next one. The next book I read was Quidditch Through the Ages by Jk Rowling. I have read the whole entire Harry Potter series, but I've never actually read any of the additional stuff that goes with the Harry Potter series, like this one, Fantastic Beasts and Tales of the Beedle of the Bard. That's such a tongue twister. I did enjoy this. I gave this about 3 or 3.5 stars. My opinion is I love the Harry Potter world and it was really interesting reading it, but as a book it's just, to me, as if I was reading a book about soccer, but the only difference is it's Quidditch in the Harry Potter world. I did really enjoy these books and I will be keeping them to complete my Harry Potter collection. They're nice little information books and really easy to get through, but I wouldn't say they were as good as the Harry Potter series itself. So after finishing Quidditch of the Ages, I was like, why don't I just go on to Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, considering this is being made into a movie soon. I did really enjoy this book, however I think if it had pictures of the creatures it would have made it for a much better, enjoyable reading. I found that it was really informative, but a lot of the things I already knew about mythical creatures, and I was expecting some ones that I weren't too familiar with, which I did have, but it was an enjoyable book. I just wanted some more pictures and diagrams, which it didn't have as much. Although I do think I prefer this one to Quidditch Through the Ages because it has little additions by from Harry, Ron and Hermione throughout the book, where they're kind of having conversation between them, and it kind of breaks the fourth wall. I don't know if that is the right term I'm using right now, but I really liked that in the book, and it made you feel back in the series at the same time with the characters involved, whereas Quidditch Through the Ages doesn't do that. But yeah, I really did enjoy that addition to the book, and even though I gave it 3.5 stars, it's still a lovely addition to the series, but obviously it's not the series. The next book I read is one I hauled quite a while back, and that is The Edge by Alan Gibbons. This is a book about a mother and her son who run away from a kind of abusive father/husband. It's a really good book. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 stars. It's a short one as well, as you can see. This book was really gripping and intriguing. I love the fact that it got into the many different minds of the characters. So even like the bad people or the good people, it was really diverse in the sense of people it got into the minds of. For example, if you pick up a normal YA book, you tend to have just the boy and the girl's opinions, or 2 girls' opinions, for example. Whereas this, you get the father, the mother, the friend, the grandmother and grandpa, and you kind of get a very big picture, and I really enjoyed reading from all different perspectives, especially the father, because it made you think about what was going on in his head at the same time. Even though he's a horrible character, it was really interesting to read from his point of view. This book tackles 2 very difficult topics, and that is racism and domestic abuse. I think it does them both really well. It's quite a diverse book, and it's quite interesting, as I said, to view the points of view, not just because of the points of view, but because the progression. You see how the characters grow as people and change, particularly in the case of the granddad in the story. I highly recommend this as a book. I will be unhauling it because I don't think I'm likely to read it again, but it is a story that will stick with me, so I still highly recommend it be read. So yeah, it was a 4 stars book for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was very different to what I normally read. The final book of the month of June I read was 0.4, It's a Brave New World by Mike Lancaster, which I think is actually now called Human.4. It has a different title and different cover now, I think. This is quite an old edition with quite a freaky picture on it. It's a sci-fi novel, which is quite intriguing because I haven't read many sci-fi style novels. However, from what I know about sci-fi, I found this book wasn't very different. It followed a very simple storyline. I didn't feel very wowed by it at all. This book I gave a 3.5 stars. It was really enjoyable, and my favourite part was the actual format of the book. It is written by the actual author as a character inside the story and from the future. and I really enjoyed because it increased the verisimilitude and the kind of realism of the actual story. I'll show you, for example, the first page. This is like here, and it's a warning, what you're doing, reading explained, and it kind of explains like what we know now, but as if it was for someone who didn't understand it, which I found quite interesting and different. I really enjoyed this book, however in parts I did find some of it was unoriginal to the sci-fi genre, and it is a typical sci-fi novel, but I was expecting a little bit of a wowing, I guess. I don't know, I wanted a bit more, I think. Another thing about the format I really enjoyed about this book is it used the tape recordings and had like editor's notes to the side, as if it was kind of in an English class reflecting on what was being said. So for example, if there was pauses or gaps between it, they were trying to kind of analyse it in a sense, what you do in an English lesson. And I really enjoyed that aspect because obviously as an English graduate now, I did really enjoy that aspect. One thing I found with this book is I wanted more characterisation. I didn't care about any of the characters, and even though it had the feeling of a thriller, I wasn't scared at all, and I wanted to be. I wanted to be creeped out a little bit more because I found the situation could have been more scary and there was no tension build up, and I wanted that. I wanted to feel like the anticipation and the sort of nervous, scary feeling, but I didn't, so that really upset me. Overall, I really enjoyed this book. It didn't wow me though. It was a bit meh. It was okay. I'm not going to be reading the couple of books that come out after this, in the sense that I won't go out of my way. If I see them, I might pick them up, but I'm not going to go out of my way to continue the series. So yeah, that is 0.4. So that's the end of my wrap up for the month of June. I read in total 7 books in the month of June. And I did have a really good reading month. They were just small books, so I don't know if that's cheating or not. But this month I'm not going too well. I almost finished my second book, but I'm about to go on to my third, so I'm doing okay, I guess. I could be reading more though. But yeah, this feels weird filming after I haven't filmed in a while. And for some reason, after a few days of rain and cool atmosphere here in the UK, it is now so hot and I'm standing right in the sun, which isn't always a good idea. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've read any of these books or plan on reading them, let me know down in the comments, / if you want some more information on them, because obviously a wrap up doesn't give a lot of information. I always review my books on Goodreads, so that will be all in the links down below. So I'll see you guys soon with another video, and I can't wait to hear your comments.